welcome back to another episode of Banter Room. My name is Early, and on the last episode, we had a conversation around cancel culture and what that meant in today's sphere on social media and in life generally. We had Adora Lumina and myself and Sharon, and it was a pretty insightful conversation. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. So today, we're talking about social media and mental health. And I have two interesting people with me today in the conversation.
Interesting is right.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
No, I'll have you do it.
Okay, me first. I'm Early. I'm your host for today's show. And we have Presley and Demi Lade, or Demi as she likes to call it. She thinks it's cool to be called Demi now, so.
Can you not?
Okay.
First of all.
Let the woman be called what she wants.
First things first, before we get into this. Right. Are you millennial or are you Gen Z? Let's start with you.
I'm Gen Millennial.
What does that even mean?
It means I'm a blend of both, and I'm not going to explain.
That's what a millennial person would say.
I was about to say that sounds like something a millennial would say. Like the way like Folabi is always trying to like enter as like a Gen Z.
No shade to Folabi.
No shade. We love you, Folabi.
Right,
Gen Millennial lives matter, guys.
Oh no! Please join.
Yes, please.
Please join. I guess I would be classified as Gen Z.
Gen Z.
And you are.
Why are you looking at me like that? Hello.
Okay, cool.
Put some respect.
So we all have social media. Whether you're Gen Z or you're millennial, or you're straddling both of them, like some people are. We all have social media. We all use social media to some extent. What's your favorite one?
Instagram.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. What's yours?
I don't have.
It's Twitter.
Twitter. Oh,
wait, why would you? Do I like come off as like a Twitter lover or something?
You look like you're a Twitter warrior. It's like you're.
Wow.
You go off on Sundays and engage in like.
Do you even know what?
Go on.
Do you even know what bracket you belong to?
In terms of what?
As for Gen Z or millennial?
No, I'm like I fall into the Gen Z.
So you agree it's Twitter?
Let's move on. I told you I don't have a favorite one.
Do you have TikTok?
No, I don't.
Do you use TikTok?
No, I don't.
Have you ever seen a TikTok?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have, rather.
You have? Okay. What about you, Demi?
I don't have TikTok, but of course I know what TikTok is.
Do you have friends who are creators on TikTok?
I think so. TikTok? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
I don't know whether they are too successful.
I mean, I have friends that make TikToks. I've been in a couple of TikToks myself. It's pretty cool.
So you have TikTok, your favorite Instagram also, and Twitter?
So my favorite social media place would be Instagram.
Interesting.
Yes, because of discovery. Right.
Okay.
We're getting into the reasons already. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Discovery.
So for me, Instagram is more like discovering a lot of content. It's very visual and, Yeah, it just has more flavor. With Twitter, it's very hard to find things that you're looking for, interests that you have, because the people who might be tweeting about it, they're tweeting about politics today, and you just miss that. So Instagram because of that. What about you?
I actually agree with you. I think discovery, yes. Instagram is very visual. I go there to see and learn stuff also. Although
it says learn, like people like to go to Instagram to learn. It's like, this is why you're millennial. Nobody goes to Instagram to learn anything.
Gen Millennial. Although most of my friends think I do better on Twitter because they say stuff about how I have things to say.
Like, today, Presley, you did a lot better on Twitter than you did on Instagram.
No, not like that. Like the gist basically is, dude, you should be on Twitter because, a lot of the time you're saying, you're saying, interesting stuff, fun stuff. So that's where
Presley,
Twitter is.
An example of something you said.
That is interesting on Twitter.
Yes.
I generally say interesting things.
Give us an example.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Like how I know she's Gen Z, even. And I know Twitter is her favorite social media platform.
I don't know where you got that from. I don't know where you got it from.
I mean, I helped you see it. That's what I do.
Wow, thank you.
It's a Presley thing. Anyway, to your question, Instagram, yes, Twitter. My friends think I should be mostly on Twitter than Instagram. I think Twitter can be tedious sometimes.
So you're a thread spinning.
No, I am not.
No.
Actually, my next tweet, which will happen sometime later in the future, I can't tell you why. Yeah, it's going to be, I'm going somewhere, so follow me. Interesting.
I think this is the point in conversation where I talk about social media.
Okay.
I mean, I go to Twitter to laugh because when I go to Twitter to just enjoy myself and laugh. And so I guess that would make Instagram my favorite. Not necessarily for any reason. I think I'm very fascinated by like storytelling and how people tell their stories. And something that always trips me up is like the difference between like your like Instagram self or like your Instagram life and Twitter. Your like Twitter life or your real life. Like a lot of it, there's a huge disparity. I can name a couple of people I know that it's not the same, and we know each other very well.
Name names.
So no, I will not do that.
We're not. Okay.
People.
No, I'm not naming names.
People
not
like
I'd not say anything.
I'm not saying anything either. My hands are just doing funny stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So in it's crazy how none of you mentioned TikTok, but TikTok is becoming one of my favorite ones. I don't create on TikTok. I don't have an account, but I just consume, and it just makes it so easy to consume content there. Also because it's very different and it's very fun, right? He's watched
different and fun. Okay.
It's different. It's in terms of discovery. This endless scrolling feed. Right. 30 seconds? Yeah. 30-second videos, and you get everything you need to get in 30 seconds. It's ridiculous. Obviously.
Really?
I mean.
Really?
It's crazy how people like BWS and Afolabi in their time.
They're coming for you. Like first of all,
we love
first
you.
of all, they're coming for you.
In their time,
comedy was like somebody being on stage, right? Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle,
holding a microphone. You're seeing this person. Yeah.
Oh no!
And they needed to do a whole set for you to get what
you need.
But today you can watch a 30-second clip of somebody. It doesn't even have to be like proper props.
Yeah.
But you get the joke and it's crazy hilarious to you. So I was like, yeah, I'd go for it. It's like the time I would spend to listen to like a Eddie Murphy special, right? The 1 hour special.
Or even the time you spend to go look for it.
And find it. And so it's just like scroll, and you get that. So
you should be an ambassador for this social media app.
No, I'm good.
He said I'm good. So no thanks.
Really well.
Yeah. So actually, what I've noticed as well is, and I want to ask you, do you ever get overwhelmed with having to consume all that content all the time, especially if you're not creating yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I deleted all my, like this morning, it was ridiculous. I woke up and I prayed, I talked to my Jesus, wonderful stuff. And I opened my phone and the first thing I saw was like a friend of mine who got a job at Tinder.
Oh.
And like they send you like merch, right? And so there's all this Tinder merch and there's like a cup and they're like shirts and there's like new, like, I don't know, she got a new laptop or something ridiculous like that. And I'm like there and I look at I just like look up and I'm like looking around my room, me in my room at 9 a.m. in the morning, just beginning my day. And this auntie is over here, doing whatever it is she's doing for Tinder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's get off Instagram. So I leave Instagram. I now make a mistake. I now open LinkedIn.
Okay.
Another one of my friends now got a job at Google. And you know that LinkedIn thing they say?
Yeah.
I never expected that this would be something I would ever get to say, but I'm very excited to announce that I'm joining the 2021 cohort of the Google something fellows. And I'm there like, so Demlade won't know, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Just explain it. What are you doing?
So you by yourself became African parent for your own self?
For my own self. I became that person. Right. As I left, LinkedIn and I opened Snapchat and I was just bored, so I removed it. So after like a good 30 seconds of just like realizing that this is not good for my mental health in any way, I deleted everything. Okay. This morning, And so the answer to your question is yes, I do get overwhelmed.
You do get overwhelmed. What about you, Presley?
Oh yeah, constantly. I should first of all say though that it'd be nice to be your friend. It looks like God is in your neighborhood. I'd like to, do you understand?
That kind of
exactly. Yeah,
I'm not waiting for the.
We don't really talk about testimonies coming your way. Just say, can I just be friends with you?
Be friends with you so you can get.
With joy and gladness.
But do you get overwhelmed with social media? Yes, a lot of the time actually. And remember how I was talking about my friends earlier?
Yeah.
I noticed something that's sort of very common around me also, quite similar to Dami's story. A lot of my friends are also content creators on, especially Instagram.
Okay.
So, as a supporter, you want to like what they do, you're scrolling through your feed, you're seeing all that.
Yes.
And a lot of the time I'm seeing incredible stuff they're putting out. Like the colors are just popping, the views, the engagements, like hundreds of thousands. And, for the longest time, I'd blame it on my own temperament. I'd be like, you're just not that guy. Yeah. So you don't necessarily need to create stuff or think you are like, Oyi or this other person.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, but even this thing is like stuff that we talked about some 2-3 years ago. Even this is not necessarily something you can't do. Now, as much as we could lie sometimes that these things don't get to us,
to you,
it does.
It does.
Right, it does.
does.
Sometimes you're on Instagram and you've been there for like, first of all, like hours just fly past. Like you're scrolling and like, whoa, 1 hour?
It's like,
you're just scrolling.
What's going on?
I have 10 minutes. Let me just quickly check.
Exactly, 10 minutes becomes 3 hours.
Like 4 pages or 4 stories deep, and you're reading about how this person moved from Japan and speaks French.
I'm telling you,
and makes the best crossing.
I've had instances, and this even happened right before we started to shoot. Right, I went on Instagram to look for something. I'd spent some 30 minutes there, and then I stopped. I'm like, okay, why did I come here again?
Like what was
Then I closed my phone, right, and I'm like, yes, I remember. I wanted to I went back on Instagram. I forgot. And I'm like, man, this is not working. I put the phone down again. What I wanted to do, I just stopped. I haven't done it right now.
Yikes.
But it's just really overwhelming because there's a lot of things. It's just like an endless pit of everything. And yes, it does get really overwhelming sometimes. It takes intentional effort, and I actually quite salute what you did. I think to an extent, everyone should embrace this, approach once in a while. Just shut.
But if everybody does that, what content will we be seeing?
So that's the thing, though. Would our content would be
need to be there.
Don't
worry, to be there. See. First of all, we have to differentiate between people on Instagram for the purpose of content creation. For a lot of them, that's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
If they don't create the content, they won't eat. So they have to do that, right? But then for other people, for those of us that are just there to just be wasting time, right? I think that's very necessary.
Ouch.
Some form of we're in the same boat, so it's okay. It's shade on you and shade on me.
Right.
But I think there's a necessity to take some form of hiatus or whatever it is you want to call it. But it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever, to each his own, right?
Yeah.
But there's a necessity to meter it in some way.
Yes.
In some way, yeah. Totally.
Very, very important.
It's great that you talked about it, because recently I had the same thing. I've been having a really rough time, with work and just being very stressful. And then I see my friend says, "Hi, I'm happy to announce that I'm joining Facebook as so." And I'm like, yo. And I look again, and the person's like, "Hey, I'm happy to be joining Google too as well." And then I go on LinkedIn, and then I see another friend that says, "Hey, I want to announce that I'm moving to the UK because I got the UK Global Talent." And I just said, no, this is not good. If I was someone who was really affected by that, you would just spiral, right? So it's quite interesting that is. So if we all admit that social media does that to you, then why are we still there every day? Why do you go back?
I've struggled with not using the term necessary evil. I think that's what it is.
You think it's a necessary evil?
I think it is, because for someone like me, for example, as a storyteller and creative to an extent, you want to be in touch with what's happening.
Yeah.
You know that someday later on during the week you have a show, for example. I have a show on radio, and I have to talk about certain things that are happening. Some of the time, that's how I get the information. Now, I'm not removing the fact that a lot of the time also, while I'm there, I'm doing other random things. But, sometimes the reason you even click that icon at all is because you're going there for news and education. So because there's that, it's hard to then say, I'm not going to do this for this long period of time. But then that's fact that then it gets to creep into your sanity and all. That's also there.
Totally get that. Yeah. 1 second, Demi. We just want to go for a short break, and we'll be right back, okay? All right.
Hi. Give me a sec. My kind of church is one that's welcoming. Quite particular about the music, so the music has to be good. That's it.
Where we can have fun, right? My type of church has to be flexible. The girl needs options. if you know what I mean.
For my kind of church, the word has to be relevant and fire.
Great news, guys. Perhaps you're not a morning person, have to work on Sunday mornings, or just like a chilled, cozy type of service in the evening. The Exchange is just for you. It's a new service experience designed to cater to you. We will treat you to some poetry, vibrant God experiences, acoustic worship sessions across different genres by special guests and our very own Lifepointe band. And a word in season. Our services are now 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. That's 2 amazing services every Sunday to choose from here at the Lifepointe Church. So, what are you waiting for? Come through, just as you are.
Hi, welcome back to the show. We've been talking about social media and just really how it kind of affects our mental health and our relationship with it. We have Presley and Demi in the chat with us today, or in the room with us today, and we've just been having like a really nice banter. So, Demi, you were about to say, if we feel this way about social media, why are we still going back to it?
I mean, let's not go on this whole like rampage about social media being the devil. Like, I mean, like obviously they're the ills, right? But like, it's a little, I don't know, like excessive, I believe, to sort of be like, oh, social media is devil. No,
so I'm not going to use it.
Like, no, right? People have started their businesses on social media. People, you know, are making their money from social media. And I know,
their lives.
Yeah, people have made the love of their lives on social media. Wonderful stuff.
Presley doesn't seem like he's
like he's on this.
Can we pretend I'm not here?
So here's my point, right? I think life in general is about balance, and I think people forget that social media has to also there has to be some kind of balance with social media. People forget that, right? And so whether you are going to be like me and you are going to just delete the app whenever the thing is getting too much for you, or you're going to meter who you follow. I remember there was a period of my life where my friends were like, "Are you okay?" I think it was just in like a 3-day period. I just unfollowed like 50 people.
Whoa.
Because it wasn't benefiting my mind, my health, it wasn't benefiting me in any way. And I was like, if you're not adding to my life, excuse me, why are you here? What's the problem? Yeah. So I think we forget to treat social media like the way we treat our physical spaces. Where like if there's somebody if there's somebody that's constantly making you feel bad about yourself, why are you carrying your leg there? Like why? Actually, why? And that's how I see social media.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
You totally agree, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I totally agree as well.
I do.
So it's more of now that we kind of agree that we all kind of struggle with it, and a lot of people do struggle with social media in their day-to-day, some more than others. How do you then think that, or in your experience, and also maybe third-hand experiences or first-hand experiences, how do you deal with that struggle? What are the ways that you, as Demi said, protect your space or make sure that it doesn't affect you or your mental health to the point where it deteriorates, but it's a safe level of
engagement.
Exactly. Right. It's a safe level of exposure to it, enough to get what you want, maybe a bit of depression here and there. Because people will always prepare you.
Small.
Yeah, it's true.
As a French would say.
Today, your friend is like, oh, I bought the new Mercedes-Benz 2020. I'm like, wait. Do you get it? So it's like, how do you do that? Like, what are the ways you see it? It could be your experience or like friends or something. Just share.
I mean, first of all, I like the two things Demi had said. She said, meter who you follow and treat your social media also like you would treat your physical space. I mean, we should also, mention how, it's whatever we might talk about, it's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all type of thing. There might be people out there watching this. It might just be some other approach that would work for you. But if I was going to share what I do from time to time, like you said, I literally treat my social media also like my physical space. So if I go on, say, my WhatsApp, my Instagram, because I'm trying to find out what's happening, what's the most current thing happening in my body's life. Instead of doing that, I just call this boy up and say, yo, what's up? Are you in the house? Yeah. And I just go to his place and we sit down, have the actual conversation.
So do you live in Lagos?
Yes, I do.
Is your friend your neighbor?
Do you live like in the
traffic doing too?
It depends on which friend we're talking about. But essentially what I'm saying is, because what it does, right, is it's fuel. right? Whether we like to admit it or not, we're social beings, right? And we need something to constantly fill that particular gap,
Connection.
that space, right? And we might not talk about it, as often as we should, but nothing can actually replace what a physical conversation is. Again, this is just me sharing my own thoughts, but I think it's valid. I think it's important. So as opposed to just, having a video call or just liking and commenting sometimes, I like to also be present in your life. I want to be around you, be in that space. Another thing that I also do from time to time is I intentionally look for a book to read. Not necessarily because I want to be that guy. Right, hold on. Not necessarily because I want to be that guy. I'm intentionally deflecting.
Are you single?
Not necessarily because I want to be that guy, but because there's something holding a book in your hand does for me, right? Okay. It gives me this discipline. I want to finish it before I then go to my phone.
To your phone.
Right, so...
Okay.
So if you're out there and you like physical intimacy, not that, but if you like someone who's going to...
You're going to put yourself in trouble.
And be in so much traffic to come and sit down with you, so because they don't want to video call you, and you also like reading books. Presley is single in the market.
I hope you're actually single. There's a lot
more interesting things to me. Interesting sides
He makes interesting tweets if that's also your thing. Whatever that means.
No. I would say, again, this sort of like the same thing, right? Protect your space. Yeah. I can't, I value my peace.
Okay.
Peace of mind, I love it, I enjoy it, and I like to keep it that way. And so when I find things that threaten that peace, I am very quick to be like, okay, Holy Spirit, is this one, are we waiting this out, or are we kicking it to the curb? Yeah. And then something I think that happens a lot, which I was talking about this with a friend yesterday, is we sort of separate our lives on social media from our lives in reality.
Right.
Just for some reason we separate it. And I think something we also do is not to be the spiritual one, but I think about how I'll interact with a friend. I'll meet somebody new and I talk to the Holy Spirit about it and I talk to God about it. Yeah. But it's not necessarily the same way I approach my life on social media. I don't really think about whether or not I should ask the Holy Spirit whether I should post this picture or whether I should follow this person.
It's so quick to make an instant decision.
Exactly.
You don't have
exactly. So I wonder to myself, why do we sort of take God out of it in this weird way? Why do we do that? Yeah. And I don't have the answer. But what I do think has helped me is involving God. Okay. I do this all the time with the most mundane things. Holy Spirit, should I wear this belt? It was the Holy Spirit that told me to wear this shirt. Because I was going to wear a different shirt. And the Holy Spirit was like, Auntie, remove it.
This is where you pause and do that thing you did with me for her, since we're trying to hook people up now.
All right. So if also you're looking for a Holy Spirit inspired body.
Stop it.
Thank you very much.
Whose fashion is Holy Spirit led. It's a new niche now, Holy Spirit led fashion.
I can't.
Demi is pioneering that, so link up with Demi for that as well. Please carry on.
Please don't take anything he says seriously. But my point is this, right? That we shouldn't separate God from our lives on social media, right? A lot of the time we try to curate those lives, and so
True.
The pictures on my social media will make you believe that I'm some globe traveling, kind of stuff. It's not true. It's a lie.
but it's only. Is there now an expectation that your life on social media should be directly reflective of your life in real life? What if that's your safe space to just
live a double life?
Life is tough.
Okay.
Right?
So what as an escape?
Exactly.
We're slowly going to get into that conversation on what's a lie and what's not.
So are you feeding into, is there a pressure to feed into creating that fake reality? Mm-hmm. Because for one, that could be your escape or your safe space to say, hey, life is tough and everything else, but I want to do this for myself. I want to share these experiences and curate the good experiences.
Okay.
Or are you doing it because you want to pepper other people? Or you want to show other people that? So it's that very thin line.
True, I agree. It's a bit of a thin line. But there's a difference between I want to curate good moments that I can look back on and I want to curate something that's not real. Those are two different things, I think. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And if you're falling, if you're like, okay, what's your why? We were talking about it in one of these previous conversations. I did listen. But what is your why? If you are using social media as a photo journal,
Yes.
That's different from I want people to think this specific thing about me,
Yes.
whether or not it's true.
Right.
I think it's different, right?
Yeah.
And then, so, like, it depends. To each his own, very much. Like, to each his own.
But the funny thing is, what's mostly obtainable is the latter is what works, especially as far as social media is concerned.
Sure.
If you're out there saying, okay, let's just put out stuff, we don't necessarily want to consider filters or, like you said, captions that pepper other people.
Yeah.
And you just probably be that guy that gets one like and
then,
one comment. And nobody wants to go through all that trouble.
We've all been there.
Yeah, like you take 100 photos, you decide to pick one out of that 100. You go through all that time to probably Google captions, because that's a thing now. We know. You go to Google, you find the dopest caption, you put that out there, and then 5 minutes later, 10 minutes, what's going on? And then you see one comment.
I wanted to ask something. Have you ever been really affected with social media that it affected your physical life and like your mental health, or do you know someone who has? Because I have a story, so I just wanted to know.
After you.
You're okay. So it was I think it was in 2019 that I realized that I couldn't do that consistently. So I would always be like, it would just affect how I was thinking. I would be unhappy. I'd just be scrolling through. So what I decided to do was take breaks or cleanses, and I would go like on a whole month of no socials, and I'll come back again. So for me, that's kind of is what I do. But I think for some other people, it's hard to break away or pull away. I know someone who had like a whole breakdown just from their addiction to their phone, and you would be having a conversation with them, and they can't talk to you for 2-3 minutes without like scrolling to see what someone else is doing, it just. Do you have experiences like that, or do you know people?
I actually do have one that it's just there, right? It's not your direct experience per se. So sometime last year, I was getting close to my birthday, and there's this thing.
Can you say your birthday for the people who are listening and interested in?
If you're watching this before the 16th of June, you owe me a gift. If you see this after the 16th of June, you still owe me a gift, right?
Well,
man.
Yeah. But it was going to be my birthday last year, right? And what I did was I archived every post I had on Instagram.
Yeah.
The argument prior to then was I didn't want anyone going there to find my photo, post it on my birthday, and say, "Oh, happy birthday, Presley!" This, that. That thing rubs off on me in a very weird way. I do not know how to receive compliments. I'm getting to the story. Yeah. So what happened was, it was my birthday. First of all, not a lot of people knew, but then certain people found out it was Presley's birthday, and unfortunately, someone went to my Facebook.
And got a picture from your Facebook.
And got a picture that I hate.
Ooh.
Now, what then happened was this one photo that I do not like became the one photo everybody
decided to.
Yeah, so obviously then you obviously
I can't tell you how I felt that day. Right now, this year, I'm not only leaving my Instagram open. I'm going to do a photo shoot. Right?
And that must be the picture.
Like several photos. I'm telling you. But that last year, on my birthday, I felt really terrible. Really terrible. And then at some point, I had to own up to the fact that it wasn't my fault. And, I've learned my lesson. It
wasn't. It was Facebook's fault. This is why you shouldn't use Facebook in the first place. Wow. Unless you're a baby boomer. If you're Gen Z or millennial.
Like Falabi.
What is your own with this person?
Falabi, I love you, and he knows.
Okay, but I think for people who are watching and listening, if you do need to see someone, please speak to someone. Yes. Please, if it's therapy, if it's a counselor, if it's your close friends, your best friends, if you find that you're struggling with your mental health, if you find that you feel this pressure to create something or to put something out there, you feel this pressure to live up to a certain standard, then you should definitely speak to someone. I think here at Lifepointe, we have small groups where people can easily speak to people in their small groups that are influential in their lives and in those interest groups. So even if it's not a small group, if it's just like a close friend, or if you're someone who's into like spirit-led fashion, you could speak to the Holy Spirit as well to help with that. Yeah.
If I may springboard off what you just said, especially talking about how mental health is a big deal.
Yeah.
We can't emphasize it enough, right?
True.
I saw something recently on social media how someone compared mental health to also your physical health. And I
Yes.
thought that analogy was brilliant because he simply said something about if you say you broke a leg, for example, would you go to a hospital?
Yeah.
Yes, you would go to a hospital because you literally can't do anything as far as your physical health is concerned. Now, when someone then says that they have this mental illness or they have this issue, we tend to just say, maybe you've not washed enough plates or there's a spirit troubling you, that kind of thing. But it's a big deal also. And we need to bring ourselves to that point where we realize that if someone so much as, gives hints of these things, we need to do something drastic to fix the situation.
Yeah, I'm really glad that our generation of people are very open to seeking help. When they like there's no fun in fighting that alone. If it's social media, if it's something else that's like you're really weighing on your health, your mental health, or really seek help. Thank you so much. This has been a fun conversation.
Thank you for having us.
So if you're watching and you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comments. If you also want to get Demi or Presley's numbers or emails, also read those requests in the comments as well. They will get to you.
I'll send you my address. You owe me a gift.
Oh yeah. Presley's going to also put his address there because he owed me a birthday.
If that's what we're doing, I can put my account number.
Excuse you?
No.
Okay, we can share.
If that's what we're doing, if that's how I want to do it, no problem.
So we'll put up their names, addresses, phone number, and account number, so you can do as well. But thank you so much for having this conversation.
Thank you for having us.
So that's it. That's it for this episode of the Banter Room. I'm Early, and this is Presley and Demi, and it's been fun having this chat with you. Catch us on the next episode, and we will see you then. All right? Bye.